Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications. That's up in North Alabama. You can also find us on syndicated television, and that's Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you so much for watching. We definitely appreciate it. Make sure you stay close to us Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. And if you're working, just don't have time to watch us during that hour, you can check out all the social media sites. We're on every single one of them, Phillip.
Yes, that's good. That's good.
Yeah, I've been kicked off of a couple, but they let me come back.
Yeah.
But anyway, we appreciate you listening. I know you could be doing anything else, but you're watching us. And make sure you check out icradio.media. That's IC as in Christ radio.media. And great music on all day long. Got a lot of Western artists are on
like
there with us. Yeah, I do too. I kind of like his country stuff. Phillip Gilliland is with us. He's no stranger. And so he's with the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. And I go to Cowboy Church.
Yes. Yes.
And I absolutely love it. So, in every Cowboy church I've been in, I love.
Well, I think that there's some fundamental things that are all similar. You know, the goal is not to have barriers, and when you take away barriers, people relax and they express the love of each other more. Like we're commanded to do that. Love your neighbor as yourself. And I think Cowboy churches have figured out a way when you take away all these barriers and there's no social status in the church, then we're all on a level playing field. And most people respond to that pretty good.
I think so. I mean, people are looking for something where it's not, it's not the status quo. It's not like, I've got to behave a particular way. I mean, and I like this about the Cowboy Church. There is respect towards the gospel and that kind of thing. But I've heard so many rumors. Remember when I first started going to Cowboy Church, and my mother said, I heard they ride horses in there.
Yeah.
I said, what?
Yeah.
They don't ride horses in there.
Well, there's, and I think back to, like 2006 or whenever the first Cowboy Church started in Alabama, which was the Cowboy Church of Marshall County. And then they began to plant churches, which is how I became a pastor, is in one of those planted churches. And But back then, we were the black sheep of churches. I mean, people talked about us like, man, they worship cows and all that. No, I said, no, that's the Hindus. That's right. But then I think it was about 2000, maybe 7 or 8 or 9, somewhere in that time frame. All that changed because that church led the county 2 or 3 years in a row in baptisms. And so then everybody kind of changed and said, well, what are they doing? And people they said, well, man, they've just found a way. This thing about taking away barriers, this thing about come as you are, this thing about not passing the offering plate, not voting on things, but do things by consensus. All of those things, resonated with people. And for me, and I grew up in a traditional country church, pretty much like you. And, it's kind of like country church was a long time ago. But those country churches had a simple church, and Cowboy church is pretty simple. So, I think people identify with the simplicity of it. They identify with the, not passing an offering plate and not preaching for an hour and just overdoing things, but yet the fellowship becomes a huge more of a part because, we always have coffee. We usually have pastries, and people get up in the middle of the sermon and go fill their coffee cup. Well, I don't have an issue with that. That's a good thing.
Keeps us awake, right?
Yeah, it keeps people awake, and it lets people relax. I think people come and instead of just sitting stoned and afraid to flinch, they are who they are. They can be who they are. And it's not up to me to fix anybody or any other pastor to fix anybody.
You got to fix yourselves.
They fix that with the Lord themselves, but we can create an atmosphere that of love and make them feel welcome and get rid of these things that have been a hindrance in churches. And I think that just doing things the same old way over and over and over because we've always done it that way, that that that's terrible. That's just a way to kill a church. And we have seen such a hard hard fact of losing some of these traditional country churches. In fact, up in Tennessee, we got 3 churches, cowboy churches, in churches that once were, you know, traditional churches and had been there for years. We got one in Marshall County that is in a traditional church building that was a successful traditional church for a long time, but they didn't have any children. And man, I was at Lookout Mountain this past Sunday, and when they had the kids come up front, it was amazing. And those were the little kids. It's great. It's so, the one thing we have in most cowboy churches, and I guess you might could find one that doesn't have it, but everyone, and I work with about 37 of these churches pretty actively, and they all have kids. They all have young people. They all do things with them. They have a active group of young people and activities for young people, and we have kids that come to Cowboy Church that never been to church, and they didn't know much about church, but what really got mom and dad plugged in was the kids had an opportunity to come to an arena event. Later down the road, here the parents are, said, well, this cost me a bunch of money. They'll be teasing me about it and said, man, this cost me a bunch of money. I said, well, how did it cost you money? Well, we had to buy. The daughter got to really liking horses, and she watched everybody let her use their horse. Well, now we had to go buy a horse, and I said, you could be spending that on something in drug rehab in their teenage years, and instead, I've always said, you get a kid interested in horses, they'll never do drugs because they won't have the money to buy them with. They'll spend it on that horse. But most of our outreach is around the Western culture, and who doesn't love a good Western movie or something like that?
Oh, we thought of you. We went to San Antonio, and so went to the Alamo.
Yeah,
I told Phil, I said, Philip Gilliland's got to be here. Phil and Elizabeth, they'd love it. So I actually had a show.
Oh yeah,
and produced one, and so that was a whole lot of fun. And then we had to come home immediately and watch John Wayne in the Alamo.
Oh yeah,
So we had to do. I love big John Wayne fan. But I wanted to mention this, and this is in Lookout Mountain Cowboy Church. Don and Judy Hunton, awesome folks.
Oh yeah,
and they're busting out of the seams.
Oh yeah, I noticed that it was so full, and they worked on the arena all day Saturday. They about got it finished. They got people just serving. What they've got is they've got such a group of servant-minded people there, and some of them I've just not grown to really love. Robert and Selena Sinclair, and of course I always loved Curtis and Judy. Curtis and Stephanie, and they helped me with so many different things. They helped us when we were feeding all those people.
Oh yeah.
So, there's just so much you could say about Lookout Mountain. I told them, I go all over the country, and I have this year. I've been lots of places and covered a lot of miles, and a lot of it is helping encourage new churches or helping a new church get started. And I don't use my church as the example. I use Lookout Mountain because it's 2.5 years old, and it started in a 3-sided hay barn in July in Alabama.
Hot.
It was hot, and they went through a winter, and it was cold. And now they've got a building that'll seat about 200. They've got about 215 or 20 in it. So, but they're working on their youth building. They've got some great things going on, but not everyone starts and takes off like that one, but that one, it was amazing how, I mean, that church just took off.
Well, the biggest impact I think that church had on me, when my son Brad,
Right.
and he used to be a little whiny baby a long time ago, and so you go to a church, and I feel for mothers who go to a church and their baby is just being a baby.
Oh, yeah.
And then people start turning around, looking at you and stuff like that. But what I've noticed about this particular, all of them are this way.
Yeah, they are.
Sand Mountain Church is the same way. When a baby cries, it doesn't affect anybody.
Nope. No, because that is a sign of life in the church,
Actually, Don is like happy.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you'll see him, he just starts like, this is awesome. This is awesome.
I noticed little kids coming up to him that
they just hang out.
They just come up and reach up, and he gets them like they were his. And it's the same way at our church. Kids come to me. Of course, I have been known to give them M&Ms and Reese's Pieces and things.
Oh, really? Then I'm a kid, Phillip.
Yeah, that's kind of how it starts. But I can go, go to the gym at Woodville High School to watch some of the kids play in a basketball or volleyball tournament or something. I go in and sit down. There's kids just swarm me, which I love it because they won't catch me without them. I mean, but you need to encourage kids when they learn, as little children learn that the church is a good, safe place to be. And we have a lot of parents that started coming to church because of their kids. So that's a good thing. I love the fact that as long as you got the noise of kids, you got hope for your church. When that church goes silent of kid sounds or little children sounds, I'm telling you, your church days are numbered.
But when you've lost the mom, because the mom is afraid her baby's going to make a little sound, then you've lost the children too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I think that is, even though I don't have small children, I'm not a grandmother yet, even though that made a huge impact on me, Phillip.
Oh, yeah.
It really did, because I remember what it felt like.
To have everybody just turn and stare
at you. And I'd be like, okay.
At our church, and I try to do this, and I've got some other people that do the same thing at our church. But when we see a young couple come in, and they may have one or two little babies, the first thing I do is go to them, introduce myself, and tell them, look, if your child gets fussy, don't take them out thinking they're going to bother me. We love that sound in our church. That is the sound of life. So if that bothers you, that's okay, and you want to do it, that's one thing. But I promise you, they are not going to bother us. So we're used to it. So that's what I tell them, and they figure it out pretty quick. And we've got some ladies that help with children, and man, there's no more important people in the church than those ladies that'll say, look, I'll take the nursery, or I'll take the little children. And every Wednesday night we at the trading post, we have 3 different age groups of young people, from teenagers down to little kids, and in those 3 age groups they have 3 different teachers. But before we do any of that, we have a lady, Miss Marcia Sellers, and she cooks food for all of them. And so if there's any children there that we think might possibly not have quite enough food at home, we make sure that the leftovers go with that one. So, and you can have that in your church, and if you're not really paying attention, you might have some people that need a little help like that, and just another meal or two out of some leftovers can be huge to somebody if that's what they need.
Absolutely. Phillip, we have to go into a commercial break.
Okay.
We'll be right back in just a minute. Man, time flies, and I'm this guy. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success. And now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows. Regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Okay, we are back from the commercial break. Thank you so much for watching, and special thank you to all of our sponsors as well. We definitely appreciate you. Without the sponsors and without you guys who watch the show and listen to the show, and awesome guests like this, we wouldn't have a show.
Yeah.
I'm Donna. I'm your host of The Edge on IC Radio. Again, thank you so much for watching. I have Phillip Gilliland with me right now. And so we've been talking about the Cowboy Church in general. I mean, everyone, I've visited quite a few, and everyone that I have visited up in Henniger,
Oh yeah,
there,
yeah.
they're awesome too.
Oh yeah, yeah. We got some great. I look forward to. We got two big things coming. On the 14th is the fall gathering at the Trading Post, and that'll be a big thing. There'll be chuck wagons cooking, and we'll have music. We have a couple of really great speakers, and my friend from Texas, Jason Taylor, will be here, and that night we'll have a bluegrass pick-in, and all the food is free. Everything. And I have some guys that pastor cowboy churches in other states that are coming. They're not affiliated with us, but they wanted to come, and we asked them to please do come and fellowship with us. And so we're pretty excited about the fall gather. It's the first one we've ever had hosted at our church, which is, again, October the 14th. It'll start about 10:30 and last till at least 8 o'clock that night. And I have the whole group of staff people will be coming in from Texas, and of course I'll be headed out, I think, tomorrow out there for our staff meeting. We don't do that but maybe once a quarter, and it's an incredible group of people that I dearly love. They have such a heart for helping churches reach lost people, and they're just, I mean, they're like my family. So I look forward to them being there. They were there at the clinic we hosted this year, and some of them stayed over and went to church that next Sunday. On Sunday the 15th, Jason Taylor will be preaching at the Trading Post that Sunday, so we're pretty excited for him and Christy, his wife, to be coming, and then he speaks on Saturday, and then he's going to preach that following Sunday there. So it's going to be great. And then this month has 5 Sunday nights in it. So the 5th Sunday night, it's our turn. Just so happened it's our turn in the rotation. We have a joint worship service with all the cowboy churches in our area. So it is our turn to host the 5th Sunday night service. And 3 on a String will be performing. We'll start at 5 o'clock and feed everybody. Again, that's all free. Nobody has to pay for anything. And then 3 on a String will start about 6. And when they finish, then Brother Aaron Johnson will bring the message. Brother Aaron is he is a dynamic guy that has pastored traditional churches, but he is also the guy that helped start Sand Mountain Cowboy Church. So he has always had a heart for cowboy churches, and right now there's several of our pastors that are attending a class that he offered to teach us. Brother Aaron has like 3 PhDs in 3 different areas of theology. So he is, on Tuesday nights we meet, and he is teaching us, helping us prepare sermons, and teaching us a deeper way to study the Bible, and some great things that he just offered to do out of the goodness of his heart, and I'm eating that up. I've enjoyed it so much. But then we have several guys that are pastors that come, and some that are lay pastors in other churches. They attend, but he'll be bringing that message after 3 on a String on the 5th Sunday night at the Trading Post. So we got a lot going on. We always do have a lot going on.
Say, when do you not?
It is the thing I love is the connectivity between our cowboy churches. I've talked to a couple of pastors this morning, and there's not many days go by that I don't talk to at least 1 or 2 pastors, and some days I may talk to 5. And we just have bonded into a relationship that I think it helps each one of us be better. And what we're talking about this morning with one of them who called me and his question, he said, "I want to ask you a question." I said, "Good, ask me." He said, "What if we just served each other as elders? Why would we not want, as a pastor, to have an elder which we consider to be an accountability partner who is also a pastor of another church?" So I said, "Man, I think that's great. I recommend that to churches all the time. I even have my own. If I'm thinking about something or if I've got a struggle, I got a friend named Oscar Griffin, and Oscar and I rodeoed together back when we were young men. He's been in 2 or 3 different Cowboy churches. He served as an elder at No Fences Cowboy Church, and I love to talk to Oscar, and occasionally I'll just go eat lunch with him. I just go and say, "Man, let me buy lunch." And I just want somebody to hear my heart about something. And Tom Lewis is another guy that Tom and I've known each other probably, I don't know, maybe more than 40 years for sure. And I was in a church where the leadership team, that there was a little bit of a thing going on, and the pastor had called 3 different, and I was one of them. He called 3 other pastors and said, "I want you to give me your opinion about this." And the leadership team was a little bit put out by it and said, "Why did you call?" I said, "Shouldn't you have asked us?" He said, "Well, I wanted a different set of eyes and I wanted a different set of ears." And so I think it's a good thing when that happens, when you, and sometimes I will call somebody and say, "Man, I need you to be praying for this." And I talked to a couple of people this morning. I told them both. Of course, I'm going to have a hip replaced, and then after that, I'm going to have a knee replaced. And I said, "I want y'all to be praying for me." There's nothing like having somebody in your circle that you know will pray for you. And you say, "Well, it's not a big deal." Well, it's not a big deal, but it messes with my schedule. And I had all these things, and this thing kind of touched my heart last night. My 13-year-old, of course, we always go, and for several years we've gone to the WRCA finals. Several of us staff members go there, and we hand out Bibles. We give away Bibles, and so Jacob, my youngest one, he loves it. He sees Dale Brisby, and he gets to do all kinds of things while we're there, and so he just is adamant. "Man, I can't wait till we get to go to Amarillo, which is in November." Well, last night I told him, I said, "I don't think we're going to be able to go," and I was dreading that so bad. He said, and his words to me said, "Dad, I don't want you to worry about that. Amarillo will be again next year. You quit worrying about that. I'll be fine. We'll do something else, and you get this done, and don't." So it kind of choked me up a little bit, thinking, he is the one. If I'm struggled getting in the truck, or he reaches and grabs me and pushes me or something, and we was in the hayfield last week. I think it was Thursday, and of course I'll tell you, I cheated a little bit. I went to school, and I was hurting pretty bad, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to stack that trailer load of hay, and so I was going to wait till 2:00 and check them out of school. Now Jacob has football practice at 5:30. I said, and it was, the hayfield was in section, which is not far from the school. So I get a text message from him at the John Patrick, who, and I think this was about 11. He said, "Dad, if you come get us at 12, we're really not doing anything. Just come get us and let's go load the hay." Well, I was already hooked to the trailer, so I go get him, and we got a favorite little restaurant we like to eat lunch at. And so, but when I got to the school, my wife, who teaches at the school, it's Cornerstone Christian, and she comes out and said, "I thought you weren't getting them till 2 o'clock." I said, "Well, John texted me and told me to come get them." I thought I was going to be in trouble for a minute there. But what they wanted to do was go eat at Kelly's restaurant and then go to the hayfield. The short version of all that is they loaded all that hay, and they've told me 2 or 3 times it's still sitting on the trailer in the barn, and they keep telling me, "Dad, when you get ready to show us where to put it, then we'll unload it." And I said, "Well, we'll do that maybe Saturday." So they're sure a blessing. They are sure a blessing, and I'll get the hip surgery done, and then I'll get the knee surgery done, and then we'll go again.
Not as bad as it used to be. I know it's bad enough, but I know people back in the day that had that. I think we were experimented on back a few years ago.
and my poor old dad, bless his heart, rest his soul in heaven today. He had his knee done, and it was worse than the one he didn't have done. And when I had mine done, Dr. Cantrell done it, and I would never have known it. I mean, it's been great up until just the last couple of months. And when they x-rayed it yesterday, they said, "Well, it's worn out, and you've got a giant bone spur underneath your kneecap," which doesn't help. So anyway, we'll get all that fixed, and I've got confidence in my doctors, and more than that, I've got a hope in my Lord that He'll get me well, and we'll get back going again.
I think so. Let's talk for just a few minutes about, because pastors need support. You've touched on that.
Oh, yeah.
Pastors do need support. And my son is in the ministry. I was in North Carolina, and he's begging for a Cowboy church in his neck of the woods, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And I told him about the support you guys give. Now, there are also folks who are thinking about coming into the ministry. They can go for, is it classes that are
we have classes called the MDC program through the American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches, and we've had one guy in our church has just they're going to present his certificate at the fall gathering, and we're very proud of him. His name's Dakota Gant. Dakota has finished that program, and they're going to come from Texas to present him that certificate in front of all his family at the gathering. And yes, we do. We have some training, but we have a whole staff of people that can help and coach, and that's kind of what I do, and I love doing that. I love helping and I've got some guys that I'm mentoring now, but I've got something in our church I've never had before, and there's 5 guys in the church I pastor that can preach any day. Here it is. This is we're about to be through with September. You know how many Sundays I've preached there? 1 in September, and
got a lot of support.
Because I've got guys like Charles Manning and Brad Wilson and Dakota and others that they can step up and preach, and the coolest part about that is there's no jealousy among them. None of those guys think, well, I ought to be the one to go, and they pray together. They are just connected so closely, and
they'll be lifetime friends.
Yes, and in that circle of men in our church that keeps me held up. It is invaluable, not just to me, but to the church, because they are just awesome men. And beyond the ones that are preaching, I mean, there's others that like Timmy Akins, and I mean, just quite a few others that they may not be preaching, like, or Shane McAllister or somebody that they may not be preaching, but they're doing other things that's just important. And Jake Cryer, who's our arena team leader, and they're just as important as the guys that preach. And in fact, that the lady that shows up when nobody's there that cleans our church building, she's just as important as anybody else is. So, you know, I think that if we get anything and we got anything right, in Cowboy Church. It's the fact that, you know, we don't look down on one person or think somebody else is better than somebody else. What I've always said, and it still resonates with me today, when I look back at the back of my church where the coffee maker is, and I see the guy that's an aeronautical space engineer drinking coffee and having a conversation with the guy that drives a garbage truck for a living, man, it just blesses me over. And I say, thank you, Lord, for Cowboy Church, because that's maybe the only place where that could happen.
My son goes to seminary at Southeastern, which is around Wake Forest, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And so he said, one of the professors there said, you know, the divorce rate is really high in this field.
Yes.
You know, but in a lot of churches, it almost appears, not the Cowboy Church, but a traditional church, it almost appears as if, you know, well, you're the pastor, you can, you know, make it on your own. It's like there's no husband and wife time. How important is it, do you think, I'm pretty sure the Cowboy Church is really into this, how important is it for the pastor and his wife to get some time just for themselves?
Well, and that's what Don and Judy are doing right now, because we recommend a pastor take a month off every year, 4 weeks. We would prefer they were 4 straight weeks, because it takes him a couple of weeks to just wind down.
Right.
And then he has a chance to build back up, and he does that with his wife, and I think Don and Judy are actually taking a little trip. But that a year ago this month, I took off 5 Sundays in a row, and I was pastoring 2 churches, and I probably have got the lowest maintenance wife of any man that's ever lived.
Elizabeth's an awesome lady.
She is, But I thought about it a bunch, and I've had to repent, just because that's not a good excuse for me to not still pay her more attention than, but because she just doesn't require it, doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. But it's a huge thing with us, and us telling these guys take off, because and not only that, we still have guys that just get fried, and it's the one good thing at Bar None Cowboy Church. Jason Taylor had this vision several years ago, and there's a lake out there behind the church, and there's several cabins, and there's a center, and they have counselors. A guy can go there. In fact, they're having a thing for youth pastors and youth ministers coming up, and it's not because they're burnt out. It's just something for regular encouragement and to help them. And Robert and Selena Sinclair from Lookout Mountain is going to that.
I think it's a grand idea.
Oh, it is. But they use that thing for a lot of different, and one of those things is when a pastor and his wife are just burned out and need some encouragement, then they use it for that.
Sometimes you can be burned out and not know you are.
Oh, I think most of the time with pastors, they'll be burned out and you just keep going because you're so accustomed to it and you don't even realize it.
Let me ask you a question, because I was raised in a ministry family, so I know the impact it can have with people calling all the time and just about things. And what are things people in the congregation can do to make it easier on a pastor's family?
I'm glad you asked that. The most important thing is don't ask the pastor, ask the elder or a lay pastor. Their names are in all the Cowboy churches. Their names and phone numbers are on our bulletins. If it's something they can do, please ask one of them. When somebody's seriously sick in the hospital, I go. I want to be the one to go, and I want to know about it.
Or praise for my dog.
Yeah, but
it was a quick little text. It was like, please pray for Buddy.
I remember it. But if it's something that they can handle, and a whole lot of it is, instead of calling the pastor, ask
they're
them.
all keyed up, and they're not drawing a salary from the church either.
No.
And so they have income they have to bring to pay bills for their homes.
Yeah.
There needs to be a relief valve there somewhere.
Oh, I think so, and we teach that, but and I have some guys that do a really good job at this, but in almost every church, there's some little old well-meaning lady that just before you're walking up there to preach, she'll walk up to the pastor and say, "I've got some bone to pick with you," and she may mean it in the kindest way. But that right before you're about to preach is the last thing you want to hear is
Bad
something
timing.
negative. And I got guys that they see one coming toward me, they'll pick them off. They'll step in between and say, "Is there something I can help you with? He's fixing to preach. Is there something I can help you with?" And that's the way it should be.
It should be. And I came from a ministry family. Now, my parents wound up in a divorce, but seeing some things that happened while they were still together, I mean, I'm not agreeing with the divorce. I'm just saying I know how it can turn into one. And when all of your time is spent at the church, all of your time, and you have no vacation time with your family, I mean, you really go
really
a lot
difficult.
of years
It
and
is.
not have
And
vacations.
I can tell you, and I confess to you, I am not the poster child for that. I need to do so much better.
Well, we all
I went to, and it dawned on me, I drove 3 hours after I left Lookout Mountain Sunday to kind of help with a situation in a church. And on that same Sunday night, while I was driving, making that 3-hour drive, was an hour and a half up there and an hour and a half back. But from Lookout Mountain, it was 3 hours to there. So it just hit me like a ton of brick. My wife and boys at their school was having a fish fry. And I'm up there, and I told the Lord, if you let me by with this one, I will not do this again. I went up there to try to mediate, for lack of a better term, some foolishness. And if I had it to do over, I'd say, "Look, you're going to have to." And I told them, and they listen. Don't take this the wrong way. They asked me, "When can you come?" I said I could come Monday or I could come Tuesday. And no, I told them, I said I can come Tuesday or Sunday, because Wednesday morning I'm leaving for Texas and I won't be back till Friday. And they said, "Could you please come Sunday?" I said, and I was trying to give myself some extra time to do. I said, "What if I got there at 7 o'clock Sunday night?" "Oh no, we have to have you there earlier. We need it early in the afternoon." So I left Lookout Mountain, drove straight there fast as I
So I
could.
would never ask you to do that. To me, it would be selfish on my part.
Well,
But then I was raised in a ministry family, so
I'm not fussing at those people. They're precious people. They didn't know what I'd been doing. They didn't know where I was at. I don't want to put them down. I preached in that church. I love that church and I love its people. But I should have been where my wife and kids were. And I drove all the way home asking the Lord to forgive me and to help me not to do silly things like that. I should have put them first. And every one of our pastors, we know better, and sometimes we see the need being so bad that we just think we got to go do it. But
I see both sides.
the truth is, God ordained that home before He ever started a church. And I've messed that up, and I'm going to try my best to do better about it.
I remember my dad had to go somewhere. It was a situation kind of like that. I actually represented the school in a spelling bee in the 6th grade. I was in the 4th grade, and I was up there with a bunch of 6th graders. He couldn't come. And I'll just tell it from my end of it, but it would have been so important to have seen him out there in that crowd. My grandparents took me. I had wonderful grandparents.
Yeah. Well, and it's like this. One of the guys that's going to, I hope, is speaking at Unhobbled in January. His name is Jason Norton. He's from a Cowboy church in Texas. Jason Norton was a ranger in the military. He's an incredible speaker, and you just, I mean, this guy he can grasp your, and he's quite soft spoken, but man, he will get you. And the Lord has done an incredible job in his life. And I called him and asked him about coming to speak at Unhobbled. He said, "Man, I want to do that." he said, but I have like 5 kids. Maybe it's 4. But he said, here's my thing. I will need you to call me a month before then. And if I don't have anything with one of my kids, I'll come. But if there's something that comes up that one of them has a ball game or something, I won't do it. And I thought that says a bunch to me about I want to be like that. I want to. And like last night, Jacob, that youngest one, had a JV football game. I had been to Huntsville. I was hurting so bad. I thought I was. And I got home and I did a couple of little things around, no more than I had to. And he sent me a text, said, Dad, please do not feel like you got to come to the game tonight. Just stay home and rest. And I can tell you.
That's some good kids right there now.
But I was sitting there. I told him, and we argued in a text message back and forth, and I finally just gave up. But I can tell you, when they were out there warming up, I carried my lawn chair in and I sat till the last play was over. And then he and I went and had dinner together. But you got to find out, because I believe if you're trying to do the right things, even when it's hard, the Lord will give you strength to do them. And
well, there's sacrifices all around. The kids have a sacrifice when you're in the ministry. The wife definitely has a sacrifice.
People do not know. I mean, you might know.
I know. I lived it. I know. And there were so many times I would want to just tell my parents, go take some time off.
Yeah.
Just, take time off. And I think it started out well-meaning. I really do.
Oh, I do too.
But it's just things kept crashing at them, just back and forth, and it couldn't keep working.
Yeah, yeah.
And see, you're smart enough to see it.
Well,
and not be so buried into it. And I'm pretty sure that's what you tell the pastors at all of your churches.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the encouragement I tell them, and especially for these young guys that are coming along that we're trying to mentor a little bit, that are going to end up being pastors, and thank the Lord for those guys. I tell them, look, you got to understand there's 3 rules. God doesn't expect you to sacrifice your family for the church. Don't do that. And number 2, you're not going to save anybody. It's not up to you, but it's up to you to give the message, and it's up to you to explain the plan, but it's not on you if they don't accept it. So you're not going to save anybody. And number 3, you'll never fix stupid. And everywhere I've been, there's a fair amount of stupid somewhere.
That's in everything.
Yes, everything. That's right.
There's some stupid talk show hosts too.
Oh, yeah.
Try to guard not being that way as well.
And you can't fix it. I can tell you.
No, you can't. But I wanted to say one other thing. And this is to you women who are out there. Okay, if you're having a marital problem with your husband, go to the pastor's wife.
Yeah.
I mean, Phil, everybody has rough spots. Phil and I had a rough spot one time. I talked to the pastor's wife. I figured she'd know my side of it a little bit better than he did. I didn't think about going to him. I just went to her, and she was a gracious lady and just, and helped. Sometimes there will be that desperate housewife out there who doesn't mean to, maybe, but it's just best that you talk to the pastor's wife. I would do that. I would, That's just me, because I saw it happening too many times in the ministry world.
Oh, it does. And as a pastor, you can get consumed with the ministry. Now, let me tell you what does that real quickly. This coming Saturday, I'm counseling the couple, and a week from this coming Saturday, I'm going to marry that couple. But I'm not going to marry them unless we pray together and we have a counseling session. And then in between all the preaching and all the other things that go on with pastors, there's funerals. I just did a funeral not this week, but last week. And it just seems like there's funerals, there's weddings, there's sermons, there's everything in the world, from people being in the hospital and people need this and that. And and people everywhere need some counsel and all, and it's just part of it, and I'm not complaining about it, but the first thing you know, you'll be consumed thinking about all of that stuff and all of those places and all of this schedule. And there's two things that can happen. One of them is you'll sacrifice your family. And let me tell you the worst one. And I've been stopped in my tracks a couple of times on this. You'll sacrifice your personal time with the Lord, which is the most important. You can get so busy doing ministry that you actually separate yourself.
You're so busy helping put out fires, your own house gets burned down.
That's right. That's exactly it.
But I have to tell you this: before Brad and Larissa got married, we were going to a church in Charlotte, North Carolina, and so the pastor of the church, Steve Bass, wonderful guy, he and his wife were awesome, and so they wanted to talk with Brad and Larissa, of course, before he married them, and invited me to come. I thought it was a grand idea because mother-in-laws can cause some issues.
Oh, yeah.
And say, Brad and I are really close. I mean, we're close, a healthy close, okay? And so Steve wanted me to come. And I thought it's probably because of mother-in-laws can cause issues. So Steve said, I hope I didn't offend you by asking you, because he talked to Brad and Larissa first. I sat out in the waiting room. Then he wanted to talk to me. And he said, I hope I didn't offend you. He said, it's not personal. He said, I just do this every time I'm married. I want to talk to the mother. I want to talk to the mother-in-law. And he said, it's just, I do this. And I said, I get it.
Yeah.
I said, mother-in-laws can cause some issues.
Well, I can tell you, and I hate it it's like this, but I have a really good pastor friend, and him and his wife have just divorced. And it's a heartbreaking thing. It's a heartbreaking story. But I fully believe, and I think he would tell you the same thing, that 90% of it was his mother.
I'm just going to tell you, I think God first, and then I think husband and wife, then I think kids, then I think mama.
Yeah.
I love my mother, but she's not going to rule my house.
Well, I think this guy...
Less than 2 minutes left before we go.
This guy recognized it, but it was too late.
Yeah.
It was too late. The damage, I mean, for 20-something years was too much, and it couldn't be apparently overcome. But, you know, in spite of all that, I will say this, the best place for a family to be is in church. Have your kids plugged in to some good Bible-believing church where they got programs for children and young people. Lookout Mountain had a huge scavenger hunt this past Sunday afternoon. My oldest of the young boys, John Patrick, was there. Jacob, I think, went too. They were lured there by a pretty little girl that John Patrick just happens to be really fond of, that goes to Lookout Mountain, and they got to spend all afternoon together. It was a good, I love seeing that, because you know where they met? They met at church camp. And
best place.
Yeah, they met at church. Yeah, they have their thing in common is their relationship with Christ. And I'm telling you, if you want to find the right person, find somebody that has a relationship with Christ. Then you'll find the right person. There's too many people that are too desperate to find somebody, and they're using all those pay-for websites to find you a partner. You ought to be seeking the Holy Spirit to help you find a partner in life.
Absolutely. Phillip, thank you so much for being on the show today.
My pleasure.
It's always so good to be with Phillip. American Fellowship of Cowboy Churches. Go ahead and check out the website. What is the website?
Yes, it's AmericanFCC.org. All our events and clinics and staff people and phone numbers and everything is on that website. AmericanFCC.org.
There you go. And thank you for watching. Thanks to all of our sponsors as well. You take care. See you next time. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. At Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of the Cobb County, Alabama 2020, we're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Wow, it's so soft and smooth.
It's cool to the touch. How did you do that?
Well, we took MyPillow's patented fill and combined it with this new technology that we didn't have back then when I invented MyPillow to bring you the best pillow in history, MyPillow 2.0. Because of all of you, MyPillow 2.0 has been a huge success, and now we're bringing you our best-selling Go Anywhere MyPillows with the same temperature-regulating technology. Made with my patented adjustable fill and brand new cooling fabric, they're truly the next generation of MyPillow. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use your promo code to save over 60% on our MyPillow 2.0 4-pack special. You'll get 2 MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, regular $259.92, now only $99.98. King size just $10 more. This is a limited time offer, so please order now.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The Hatter Cafe and Country Inn is nestled in the northeast corner of Alabama the Beautiful in the delightful town of Mentone. We're located on top of scenic Lookout Mountain near Little River and DeSoto State Park and located only 5 minutes from shopping and restaurants. There is also a nearby community walking path and golf course. We welcome everyone through the doors, and we are committed to outstanding service for all guests. At the Hatter Cafe and Country Inn, we invite people from all walks of life to come and get away from it all, enjoy the open spaces, treetop views, fresh, clean air, and experience Southern hospitality at its finest. We look forward to hosting you. To reserve a special event, or if you would love a special getaway at the Country Inn, you can call us at 256-634-2018. Jeff McCurdy of the McCurdy Law Firm has been a public service of this area for over 10 years. McCurdy, a member of the Henniger City Council, serves as prosecutor for the town of Sylvania and was named public defender for the city of Rainsville. The McCurdy Law Firm is located at 17326 Alabama Highway 75 in Henniger to better represent his Jackson and DeKalb County clients. If you need to be represented by a true public servant with proven success, call Jeff at 256-996-8701 or send a private email to mccurdylawfirm@gmail.com. No representation is made that the legal services performed is greater than the legal services performed by other lawyers.